Hi there. I didn't get any highs back, but okay, I'll keep going. So I'm going to talk about downtown LA and how it's a small town in the big city. And do I need to point this somewhere? And it's not working. I'm clicking. Okay. So we're looking actually at the roots, the start of the city, the Pueblo, here in the circle, the original Union Station, the once and future Los Angeles River. And we're going to talk about the heart of the city. That's where I work. That's where my firm is. And disclaimer for you is that I am a fourth generation Angelino. We do exist. And so that's my disclaimer. So that's downtown. And it's in the heart of a very big city. So this is 5 square miles within about a 500 square mile city. Next slide. And you know, it's a rapidly changing place, which may or may not surprise you. We adopted an adaptive reuse ordinance about a decade ago, and so the whole historic building stock in the city that was empty is now filling with people, and we're up to about 45,000 people living in downtown LA, and that's out of about 3 million people in the city, and it's about half the size of the city of Roanoke. Next slide. So the residents of downtown are people with means, as they self-report. This is a self-reported survey. They're employed, they're college educated, they have pets, and we just got a city target. So I guess it's tough to call downtown LA the frontier, but a lot of people still think of downtown LA as the frontier. Next slide. It's definitely a place of contradictions still and of disparities. So this is a major square in the center of the city. You can see a sort of a poetic view of, I won't say an intractable problem, but a huge problem with homelessness that we definitely still have in the center city. Next slide. But I don't want to talk about the size of the city so much as the scale of the city and talk about the human scale. I was thinking of this as postmodern Angelino humanism, to follow on from an earlier speaker, and this notion of us rethinking human scale in downtown LA. Hate to be, it feels a little pedantic after the last presentation, but it all starts with policy and collaboration, and a lot of folks in the city, planners and transportation engineers and other engineers, and guided by a city planner, got together and articulated a new set of design standards for the downtown. And very radically for the city of Los Angeles, those had to do with widening sidewalks. As you can see in the right-hand slide, widening sidewalks, not widening streets, managing water in sidewalks, and developing projects and new development around public open space that actually penetrates and is porous to the street and invites people into projects. So, but that's at the scale of development and of streets. And we're also thinking about corridors. And I'm not sure I would call any of these projects micro, but there are definitely micro relationship elements within them that I'll be talking about. So this is the Broadway historic corridor within the city of, within downtown. And we've been working on a piece of a revitalization project. So Broadway was always a place that was a destination for the city. It was glowing on the outside and glowing on the inside of the historic theaters that make up this historic theater district. But as in many center cities, post-war, it had declined. Upper floors of all the buildings have been vacant, and the really rich physical history of the place, you can see the terrazzo paving here on the right that's in front of many of the historic theaters. Had been replaced by temporaries, but tacky, and a councilman came along thinking to revitalize Broadway. Multi-dimensional project of which I've been working on a streetscape component, but what's really important about it is that it's multi-dimensional, about economic development, about physical development, and about the public realm. And as you can see, again, another radical idea. We're looking to narrow the street and focus on people instead of cars. So we're taking a huge section, making it narrow, and I'm sorry I jumped ahead, but really thinking about bringing back a streetcar onto the street and making a place that's great for transit riders. What's been significant about working on Broadway is this idea that this residential population that's there has been engaged. A lot of what's happening to bring back Broadway is a volunteer effort. People have been named trustees of the Bringing Back Broadway movement, and trustees has been another word for volunteer. And families that live there seem to actually believe that the place isn't through changing yet, and that that's a good thing, and that they can be part of it, and that their kids can be part of it. So they've really engaged with us in the process of design, looking at widening sidewalks, making places for people to linger, to feel comfortable in the public realm, and making places that people will feel comfortable using transit, hopefully new transit to come in the future. We don't have any money to implement the project at this point. We have money for one block. And so we're thinking about implementing an 11-block project as what we're calling a dress rehearsal for this theater district, doing it a la Manhattan, the early days of the work on Broadway, paint, bollards, and maybe one block of it is bricks and mortar, and the rest of it is temporary until the money comes. So it's an exciting process. And if I wasn't out of time, I would tell you that it's not the only big thing happening in downtown. We're also working on transforming the Figueroa Corridor, again, thinking about a huge section and about transforming it for multimodal mobility and providing the first separated cycle tracks in the city, thinking about how we're using our streets differently, opening them for people instead of just for cars. This is a ciclovia route, just happened a couple weeks ago, again involved the Figueroa Corridor and transforming it in its use. And just to conclude to say that, again, it's taken a village. Snapshots of the many different people and kinds of people that have been involved in transforming this place, from elected officials to developers to city planners to people who are formerly homeless that have now risen to be on the Downtown Neighborhood Council, and business leaders and advocates and the like. So it's a changing place, and we hope that some of you will visit and really appreciate the new downtown and the small town in the big city of LA.